is the most challenging thing about looking? Hi everybody, welcome to Red Line Legends, and we have a special guest today. We have Sydney.
Hello.
Sydney, where do you go to school?
I go to school at Texas Women's University up in Denton.
And you have a special position there.
Yes, I'm one of our goalkeepers on the soccer team.
And it's a collegiate level soccer team.
Yes, D2.
Too. Very nice. And believe it or not, Sydney has brought her prized possession with her. Meet
Blueberry.
Blueberry, the 76 Triumph, to which you do most of the wrench work on this car.
I do, yes.
That is amazing, and this is your daily driver when you're in town.
Yeah. As long as it's not raining, she is going with me.
Very nice. Well, when did you get her?
So about 2 winters ago. So in December, 2 years ago, I think.
So it started out as a winter project?
Yeah, just kind of fell into our laps, and we said, yep, we want it, and so we've been working on it since.
Very nice. What have you done to it?
So first thing we did was the trunk seals.
Trunk seals?
All new seal here in the trunk because it was torn to hell.
Okay.
You get out the car, smell like exhaust, and that's not very fun. So
No.
had to redo that, and it works a lot better now. And
No.
then we had to refab the horns.
We've had the horns.
Yes.
And did you reupholster it?
No, it came with all this upholstery still intact like this.
Really? Yeah. It looks great. It's
I
still
know.
the original drivetrain.
No, so new engine, new 5-speed transmission in it, new carburetor.
Okay.
Yes. Which with 5-speed, if I could get a 6 in it, which you can't, then I'd probably do that in Houston because with 75-mile highways in the summer, you can get maybe 30 minutes before you got to go back down to like 65 before you start overheating.
Really? Okay, so this is what living with a 76 Triumph is really like.
Yeah.
What do we do with the interior?
So the interior stayed pretty much the same, except as a teenage girl, you need cup holders. So we built
yeah.
these right into here that just slide in, slide out, and looking on the Triumph Facebook group, nobody really had a solution for the fact that there are no cup holders in this thing, except for like the old school ones that would go between here and would break, cause
Right.
damage. So we
Pain
ended
in
up
the butt getting in and out.
They didn't leave much room like in this car to begin with, except in the engine bay. Like that's one thing that I really like. If I drop a screw, it's just falling to the floor. I don't have to take anything.
And that is nice. You don't have another layer running under it.
Nope.
And you can get to everything in this engine. Yeah.
The horns were a little bit hard just because we had to drill into the brackets that were already here to get these installed. But I think it had the original horns when I got it.
Now you changed up the carb.
Yes. So this is one of the new Weber carburetors. I've only had to tune it once since I got her, and so I'm pretty happy with it.
Versus the original, which you had to, I'm guessing, tuning quite a bit.
Thankfully, she didn't come with the original. So I don't know, but I'm going to guess probably the
Okay.
tuning carburetor. The electrical system is a pain. Like just last night when we were getting it ready to come here, we had to fix the brake lights again. So how they have it is when you press on the brake, it presses the button which then connects it. And so eventually it just pushes the plug out of it. And so then they don't work. So we just kind of taped it so that it
Now, what other alterations have you done underneath the hood?
honestly, we've cleaned the spark plugs. We've made sure that that's run, done an oil change on it. But since I got her, she's just been running solid. When something pops up that needs fixed, then we're working on it. But main thing is just fixing these windshield wipers, which Triumphs are notorious for. Like when I was getting her, my mom did not want me to have her because she used to have a Triumph and windshield wipers never worked.
Now, you said you had sometimes when you're doing 75 on the highway during the summer, you have to back it down to 65 after 30 minutes?
Yeah, roughly.
Okay, and how long do you have to maintain 65 before you can get back up?
I don't really try and push it, maybe like 15 minutes. She doesn't like overheat. Yeah, I haven't pushed her to that level, but just with the tiny fan in her, all she has even is a heater. They did not come built with air conditioners in them whatsoever.
Right.
And the heater, whether you want it running or not, it's kind of always running.
Now, living with Blueberry, what is the most challenging thing about living with Blueberry?
She is a dog to start. She gets drive her maybe once and let it sit for 2 days, and her fuel line empties. So you just gotta pump the gas a lot before you even try to start her. Much less 3 months when I'm off at school, and it's an act of love to get her running again.
I'll be
She
darned.
will, but she screams a lot.
She's that finicky to get back up again.
I have faith in her. She's never left me stranded. I know she'll fix it. You just sit in the parking lot and sputter out a lot. Once she's running, she's a champ, though. Radio in her so I can plug my phone in and it just connects, which for me is a big sell. Love the wood panel dash. That's one of my favorite parts about it. This is an old Cadillac cigarette lighter that I put in there. It matches the grain of the wheels.
It really does. It has the
leafing.
The leaf, yeah.
Yeah. It's in great shape. It's one of my favorite things about it. I've seen one other Triumph at a show and it did not have the wood panel dash like this one. If I pull these back, there's going to be a little bit of a rust gap in it, but it doesn't change anything with the car. So
We have a rust gap.
yeah, just like
Down at 10-12?
yep. Under
Oh,
these,
floor
you'll find
pans.
a little bit under the carpet.
Is it surface rust or is it actual rust?
You can see through the car.
Rust.
Yep.
Rust.
But it's okay. It still runs. You don't see it. I never feel it, or my dad doesn't because he always sits in this seat. So
I was gonna say that seat's way back there. You're tall. Your dad's a tall man.
yeah, that's why I drive it. He can't. When I was at school in the spring, he took it to go and get inspected for me, and it was a pain for him.
Getting in and out the knees because the steering wheel is in a locked place.
Yep.
Now I have to ask. I see the wireless phone, Mike.
I don't ever use it.
I'm gonna say that never works, does it?
I've never tried to use it. I don't use my phone when I drive. Nobody knows what it is, so being able to share like the history of it, because it was able to be called the Spitfire because Triumph had worked on getting parts for the Spitfire planes in World War II. So I still have a fire extinguisher in here. I've yet to use it, and we're gonna keep it that way.
Yeah, just keep it in the car. Yeah.
Yeah. Never had her spot oil or anything. People say British cars always leave their mark by just spotting oil.
Yep.
Yet to have that because of the new drivetrain. I just want to keep her to where I can tool around town in her. I'm not trying to put her out on the drags. Like, we drove her to the drag races. My dad was like, take her out and do one. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. New engine, she'll last forever as long as I treat her right. And I'd like for her to last
Are
forever.
you sure you're 19? I was never that smart at 19.
I like my things to last. Like, I do a lot, and I expect everything that I do to be run a certain way. I've never felt unsafe in her. Again, she just fell into our laps. Like, we weren't actively looking for a car, and then my aunt was wanting to sell hers, and I'm just like, yeah.
So you
I'll
knew the
take
history?
A little bit. It's just stayed in the family for a few years. Didn't really know she had it because she had it stored in a storage place up in Miami, but she's a 76. She's been around almost 50 years.
Yeah.
She's gonna have some nicks and bruises. And for this to be all that's wrong with her,
She looks great.
yeah. You can still get these for a really good price. Like, that's my thing. Teammates would be like, Sydney, I want to get into vintage cars. What should I get? Like, it's a daunting thing. I'll be driving and one time somebody rolled down their window and they're like, is that a Mustang? And I'm just like, what do you mean, is this a Mustang? Like, a vintage Mustang does not look anything like this.
How's the top in the rain?
It actually doesn't leak that bad. Like, I try not to keep her out in the rain because of how the windshield wipers don't work. But if I roll it up, like I've rolled it up before whenever I'm like going to be gone for a few hours and she's outside, and I never find any water spots inside.
How much time do you think you spend working on this car?
Depends on if I'm actively trying to fix something. We spent maybe an hour on the brake lights last night because we'd messed with them before and figured it out, and now it was just the same thing. So we just taped those up, and they should hopefully last for a long time. So finding a shop for it is really hard, and that's why we just kind of haven't yet.
So it's just you have to do it yourself. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Of course.
Giving us an opportunity to look at Blueberry and then telling us your story. I mean, it's just a fantastic car. Appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching this episode of Redline Legends. I hope you enjoyed the show. And thanks to Sydney for bringing out Blueberry and giving us a chance to learn more about such a special car. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you live in the Houston area and have a cool car, get in touch. We'd love to feature you on the show.